Didn't I literally just talk about how these needed to be rerun last week? Netmarble is screwing with me, I swear. What's going on, you guys? TBR here, back yet again with another King of Fighters All-Star video. And a happy Monday to all of you out there. I hope you all enjoyed your weekends. In today's video, Netmarble has gone ahead and given us yet another Christmas gift, because apparently we were all good little boys and girls out there this year. You wouldn't be able to tell that by judging from the forum posts over the course of the past several months, but hey, you know what? I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. In today's video, we are going to be breaking down the 1220 patch notes, because there is a lot to talk about. But before we do all of that, make sure if you guys haven't already done so, you smash that like button and subscribe, and let's go ahead and get into the breakdown. Now, as always, if you guys want links to any of this stuff, links will be in the description, but if you guys did not notice, we are going to be getting this stuff, or at least they're telling us we're getting this stuff, because the global version of the King of Fighters All-Star has reached 20 million downloads. So apparently, globally, we have reached 20 million downloads, so that's pretty darn cool. I did not realize that we had been getting that close to that number, but that is a very big number, so congratulations to Netmarble, I suppose, and congratulations to manager Kiki and the rest of the crew over there on the dev team. But yeah, 20 million is a big number, so I'm glad that they've decided to go ahead and give us something for this, and the something that they are giving us, yeah, it's pretty hefty, so let's get into it. So, as you guys can probably tell, we are going to be seeing reruns for not only Boss Syndrome Ignis, but also Boss Syndrome Original Zero, Chrysalid, and Geese Howard. So this is going to mark the first time that all four of these characters have returned respectively. Very interesting timing, considering the fact that just last week during our subscriber Q&A we had talked about how all of these characters needed to be rerun, and here we are a week later, not even, and all of these characters are coming back. But not only are they being re-released, but they've gone ahead and they've buffed each one of these characters. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the buffs first. There's going to be some in-game events and some other news that we are going to get into as well. I will have timestamps in the description for this stuff, but let's go ahead now and take a look at what the buffs are for the characters first and foremost, and then we'll talk about how these characters are being reintroduced and a couple of little things that you may want to be aware of before you get too hype about the re-releases for each one of these characters. So first up here, we're going to take a look at Boss Syndrome Ignis, and what did they do to Boss Syndrome Ignis here? Now, this is a character that is already in a really good spot, so it'll be curious to see just how much they wanted to go ahead and buff him. So as you guys can see here, the first skill that they did buff is going to be the S2. So if you take a look here in red, they are going to highlight what has changed. So basically, they are adding an extra second on to that PvP exclusive. So now when he successfully hits, including guard, the target cannot use active skills for 5 seconds. So basically, whenever he gets hit, he is going to be able to take away the opponent's ability to use their active skills for an extra 1 second in PvP. So pretty good stuff. This will only be important for Championship and PVAI, but still a nice little minor buff there. But there's plenty more where that came from, so don't you worry. So next up here on the skill 3, again, as you guys can see in red, they highlight what has changed, and again, it is a PvP exclusive. This time, when hit on target, including guard, the target's power gauge is decreased by 20% as opposed to the previous 10%. So this is a big number change. They've basically doubled the percentage here. 20% is a nice amount, and again, this is another Championship / PVAI buff, so not too shabby, but we aren't seeing anything just yet that is going to make a big difference for any of these characters as far as PvE goes. But hey, we just started. Promise we'll get there. Just be patient. I can see you out there watching this and you're like, well, it's not even that great. Just hold on, guys. Hold on. We're getting there. So this is very interesting. Now, basically, this is a core buff, and as you guys can see, this is a whole new effect. So they've completely added a new line of text here. If a Ness fighter is in your team, then active skill damage is increased by 50%. This is huge. This is really, really big, and this is something we're going to talk more about here as we go through this breakdown. However, a buff to your active skill damage by 50% for just having another Nest fighter on the team. This is going to be huge for Ignis in particular, because this is a character that doesn't necessarily hit as hard as your uber tier damage dealers out there right now, but this right here could definitely go a long way for him. I'll be very curious to see how his damage scales thanks to this new core, but this is a really, really nice buff, and this is something, like I mentioned, we'll talk more about because it comes up again, believe it or not. But this is big. This is big for Ignis. Ignis is not a character necessarily that's in a bad spot whatsoever, so getting this stuff, anything that these characters get, is icing on the cake when you consider the fact that all of these characters are very powerful in their own right. So that's going to do it for Ignis. Really good stuff right there. I think that really, like I said, that character doesn't need much, so that core right there is probably all he really needed, because honestly, my only gripe with him is his damage output, but that's a minor gripe when you talk about characters as good as these, so it is what it is, but cool stuff overall, you guys. So we're going to go ahead and keep it moving here. We're going to talk about Boss Syndrome Original Zero next, and what did they buff with Zero? Well, as you guys can see, I had told you we were going to talk about that core again, and there it is. So as you can see, Zero is going to get the exact same core buff. So basically, he is also now going to be able to buff his active skill damage by 50% with another Nest fighter on your team. Now, Zero is another character that really didn't need a buff. However, a buff to his damage is going to be massive for him, because this is a character that's already extremely powerful, and a lot of people, I feel like, with all the new toys we've gotten over the course of the past couple of months here, have forgotten that fact. So this is going to be huge for him, and as well as Ignis, who we talked about previously. So this is a really nice little core. It'll be interesting to see how this affects things. I can't wait to take these characters in and test them out, but of course they just rotated out Nightmare Geese, which would have been the most fun way to test this stuff when it drops. So I guess we're gonna have to wait a week on that, but still, there's plenty other ways we can test these things, but that would have been nice. So in general though, these buffs are really good for both these characters. Neither character was in a bad spot to begin with, so this is just stuff that is again going to be icing on the cake. So that is going to do it for the Nest boys there. We got one more Nest boy to talk about in the form of Boss Syndrome Chrysalid. So what did he get, I wonder? We'll get there. Let's take a look though first here at the skill buffs. So first up here for Boss Syndrome Chrysalid, as you guys can see on the S1, the penetration amount has been increased from 1,000 to 1,500. As I always like to say here on the channel, you can never have too much penetration, so an increase to the overall penetration amount is a nice thing, and this is a character that is still extremely powerful as a potent Guild Raid Omega Rugal counter, specifically for Expert and Lunatic difficulty, so you'll love to see this sort of stuff because that should definitely help his damage there. Now next up we have some core buffs to talk about. So the first one here, and there's two separate ones on the same core, so bear with me, but first up here, if attacking a target with darkness or starlight, then all enemies will be dealt damage equal to 120% of attack, and basically this is buffed from 80% previously, so you get a whopping 40% increase on this one. Really nice for his overall damage output, and I do like this a lot because this is also going to help him out in mobbing, where he's already, surprisingly, for a character that is going to be predicated on grab skills, very nice, so this should help him out just that much more, so good stuff in general. And then finally on this core we have a PvP exclusive. When hit, then the attacking enemy will not be able to use the active skills for the next 5 seconds on a cooldown of 20 seconds. This changes from 3 seconds previously. This is extremely good in PVAI and Championship. I use this all the time when I use my Chrysalid in PVAI, so this is a really welcome change. That extra 2 seconds can be absolutely debilitating for the opponent, so this is a really nice little buff for him, but it gets better because, as I'm sure you guys can probably imagine, we have one more to take a look at here, and this is actually going to be a whole new line here. So as you guys can see, when successfully hitting targets with darkness or starlight, then active skill cooldowns are decreased by 0.5 seconds. Oh boy, yeah, that's extremely good for this character. Chrysalid got a lot of love with these buffs, and in general, all of these characters got some really generous buffs to them, but this is extremely strong for this character. This, again, is a character that is very powerful, and another character that a lot of people have completely forgotten about for no reason, because he still does tons and tons of work. So, in general, I'm really happy to see this. I'm very curious to see just how much this improves this character in things such as Guild Raid, where that's kind of in PvE where he's the most important, but I'm very curious to see how this affects his overall performance and damage as a result, because this is a really nice little buff. In general, you guys, I'm very happy with what I'm seeing with all of these characters so far, but of course, we still got one more. It's my favorite of all four of them, and it's going to be Boss Syndrome Geese. So with Boss Syndrome Geese, this is a character that is still, like all of these characters, extremely strong. In fact, out of all of these, he's one of the stronger ones, besides, I would argue, Ignis and Zero. So let's see what they did for him, because anything they give him is only going to be helpful. So as you guys can see, we have a new line here. When successfully hit, and this is on the S1, keep that in mind, so this is going to be on your Rapukin. When successfully hit, the target has increased receiving damage by 25% for 7 seconds. Man, Netmarble needs to work on the wording on this stuff. So basically, whenever a successful hit lands, the target is going to receive 25% more damage for 7 seconds, I'm assuming. So whenever you land the S1, you increase your overall damage output by 25%, whatever. So I don't know what Netmarble thinks with some of these translations or some of these wordings, but whatever. Very cool stuff. This is a whole new effect on here. They didn't take anything away in order to add it. So again, guys, anything that he gets is only going to be icing on the cake, but that's a really nice buff. And again, it tends to get better, so let's go ahead and go through here. Next up, as you guys can see, this is going to be a core buff. Active skill damage dealt to a target with lightning or darkness debuff is increased by 100%, previously at 50%. Another massive buff. When it comes to Geese, one of the biggest issues with this character in general, comparatively speaking to the newer characters, is that his damage isn't necessarily going to be as high as some of these other characters. And we've documented this in the past with this character when he was released. His damage potential is there, but he is a character that is a little bit, just a little bit on the low end by comparison to a lot of these new characters. So in general, this increase should be something that will help him out quite a bit. Another really strong buff. They went all out with these character buffs for these guys, and I would argue that this is probably some of the strongest buffs we've seen to some of these characters in a very, very long time. So next up here, we have one final buff to Geese, and this is going to be another core buff. So as you guys can see, when Baiken successfully hits, blast active skill cooldowns reset at a 70% chance, whereas they were previously at a 50% chance. So this was something that was pretty much, I had noticed, happened all the time anyway. So, you know, it's one of those things where I don't know necessarily that this is going to be a massive difference. It always kind of felt like it was more than 50% as it was sitting anyway, but I know that that was probably just all RNG, so an extra 20% is always going to be welcome. But the bigger thing arguably here is they've lowered the cooldown on this to 10 seconds, which is cutting the cooldown in half, because previously it was at 20 seconds. So this is really good, you guys. In general, again, all these characters are already in a really nice spot. They're just a little bit behind the newer stuff, so being the fact that they've gone ahead and given them all these buffs is only going to be welcome. And I'm sure that all of you guys out there that are fans of these characters, that already have them sitting in your inventory like I do, and they've been on your roster forever, you are super hyped to be able to go in and test this stuff out, just as I am. So time will tell just how much of a difference this stuff makes, but I can tell you right now, it's going to make a big one, because these are great. These are all really, really good buffs. So that is going to do it for the buff section here. That's pretty much what they did to all these characters. We'll test this stuff out and see just how much it improves them over the course of the next few days. But for now, let's go ahead and move on to the next part of the update here and talk about the fact that they are bringing these characters back, but there's going to be a little bit of a catch. So it's very important to note this for those of you out there who are real excited to start pulling for these characters, maybe even waiting for them to come back. Well, there is one catch to this, right? So it does appear as though, based on all the wording, and there's going to be more evidence to point to this, but I'm 99% sure that this is the case. These characters are all going to be on the same banner, you guys. So that is something we're going to have to wait and see what the rates look like on, and we're going to have to wait to see kind of what's going on with this. But it does appear as though all these characters are going to be on the same banner. But not only that, their cards are also returning. All the cards from all these previous banners, so both of these previous banners, both the Boss Syndrome Volume 2 and 3 respectively, all the cards, the options, and the sets are going to return as well, but they're all going to be on the global 20 million download celebration battle card special summon banner. Man, that's wordy. So basically all these things are going to be available. However, again, they're going to be on their own banners, all kind of combined together. And so it's going to be a situation out there for you guys who are wanting to pinpoint a specific one. It's going to be very difficult for you to do so. We'll have to wait to see how they implement this as far as, like I mentioned, the rates and so on. But I wanted to make sure I pointed that out. They are going to be throwing us a lot of bones in order to pull on these things. But I will tell you guys, based on what I'm seeing here, that this is probably going to be a bit of a double-edged sword, so something to keep in mind. It's definitely something I'm not super excited about myself, because I wanted to go in and pick up the option card, that Chrysalid option card that I never got from Volume 2, but I may not end up getting that at this point. We'll have to wait and see. I don't know if I'm going to go too crazy with this stuff because I already have most of it, but that is pretty much what we know about what's going on here as far as the re-release is concerned, you guys. So not a whole lot else to talk about with that stuff. We do have packages associated, because of course we do, because it's Netmarble and they want money. So basically we'll break these down whenever this stuff goes live. I'm not going to get into it today, but you're basically going to be spending a bunch of money for a bunch of rubies, tokens, items, and so on. Kind of the same thing we've come to expect with any of these banners. So that's going to be something else to take a look at tomorrow. But as I mentioned to you guys, this stuff is all going to be live later on this evening. This will be a patch, not a maintenance. So something else to keep in mind there from the looks of it. I would just kind of, I don't know, I would wait to see on that, because they may end up surprising us with that. I don't know that there's going to be a maintenance. It doesn't mention one at all, but at the same time, I would be safe and get all your stuff done before the time cited on this stuff, just to be safe. So that's pretty much all there is to this particular part of the notes. There is going to be more to talk about, a lot more actually, so I just wanted to start off with the buffs and the character re-releases. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Alright, you guys, so the next thing I want to go ahead and talk about is going to be the 20 million download celebration event notice. So basically, we are going to get a few little events here. However, while there aren't going to be a ton of these, they are going to be stacked as far as freebies. So definitely listen up and pay attention here, because there's going to be quite a bit of free stuff that they are offering us. And so let's go ahead and take a look. As you guys can see, we are going to get a new login bonus. Now, this login bonus is going to yield us 7,000 free rubies, but they are time limited. So as you guys can see, this is going to be the login bonus here, featuring the Christmas version of Leona, and this stuff is going to be available, like I had already mentioned, basically at reset later on tonight, whatever the case may be. Again, I would just get your dailies done early, because they do have they have different times on some of this stuff, and so some of it's before reset, some of it's right at reset, so on and so forth. I would just make sure you guys get everything done before all of this stuff comes up, because you never know with Netmarble. Even though, again, they didn't mention a maintenance specifically, I just want you guys to be safe, just in case. I don't want you to miss your dailies, especially being that today is payday. So as you guys can see, this is going to be available pretty much right around the same time, couple hours later than what they had cited on the Boss Syndrome stuff. But that is what we got there. Pretty cool stuff. You'll just have to make sure you use these before they go away. So I'm planning on waiting a little bit and getting all these, and then maybe I'll go ahead and take a look at pulling on these Boss Syndrome banners. I'm definitely not going to be using my actual rubies on this stuff, so keep that in mind. You're not going to be seeing some sort of summoning video right after, I do this video, doing a summoning video tomorrow or something like that. It's not going to happen. So sorry to disappoint anybody. I've already summoned for these. So that is pretty much what we got for the new login. So the next thing here, guys, is we are going to have a coupon code. And as you guys can see, this coupon code that we're going to be able to plug in is going to give us not only a multi for the fighters, but a multi for the cards. So pretty nice stuff here. We're not getting, you know, a random like 3 single tickets or something like that. We're actually getting a full multi for each banner. So that's really cool. So this is something, of course, you're going to have to wait to be able to enter, but awesome stuff nonetheless, you guys. And another thing to make sure that you do whenever this stuff goes live. So that is pretty much going to do it for that one. The next thing here is going to probably be the thing that's going to arguably be the most controversial part of this, because I know a lot of people out there are probably going to be disappointed by what I'm about to talk about. But as you guys can see, we're finally getting another memory carnival. It's been, I don't know, forever. I don't know how long, but it's been a while. But we are getting a memory carnival, and the rewards on here aren't bad, you know, especially if you're somebody like myself who is just in dire need of hammers ever since the Guilty Gear collaboration. However, keep in mind, as you guys are going to probably notice here, we are not going to have a generic BS memory on here or SS memory or anything like that from the looks of it. Instead, we are going to have a platinum selector. So yeah, that's a thing. I know a lot of people out there have been sitting on a ton of summoning tokens and tickets and so on, waiting for another memory carnival, hoping to be able to net themselves another generic. However, it does not appear as though with this one, at least, we are going to be getting that. So kind of keep that in mind, you guys. We aren't going to be getting a generic memory from the looks of it, at least from the carnival. You never know if there's going to be something that comes up here over the course of the next couple of days that surprises us. It's happened before. I'm going to wait and see. But when it comes to the carnival, at least, it does not appear as though that is going to be a thing. So that is, if I'm not mistaken, going to do it for the events. Yep, that is pretty much it for the events, you guys. So not a whole lot in the form of events. You know, as you guys can see, we're getting that login bonus and we're getting that carnival and so on, but we're not getting a whole lot of stuff there. It doesn't appear as though they're rerunning the rush dungeons for the boss syndrome characters or anything along those lines. So pretty interesting, but I don't see anything here that's going to be that game breaking. Now, one other thing I do want to point out here, as you guys can see, we are going to be able to get another login bonus here. This is going to be a push login bonus, so I'm assuming that they're basically just going to automatically go ahead and deposit these items into your inbox every day. So basically what we are going to be getting with this stuff, as you guys can see, starting pretty much later on tonight with the rest of this stuff, we are going to be able to get tokens to summon on these banners, and they're going to alternate between the fighters and the battle cards, and this is going to go on for a full 5 days, you guys. So in general, you're basically looking like you're going to end up getting 3 tokens for multis for the actual fighters and then 2 for the battle cards. So again, guys, I'm going to wait on this stuff because I don't have any real need to pull, really. Like I mentioned, I really only want that option card, but outside of that, I'm just going to wait because I'm going to have a ton of options to get these things maybe for free. You know, I've got most of these characters also at Awakening level 4, so any memories I get for them are going to be welcome for me. But in general, that is pretty much it as what we are getting with this update. Now, this is a big surprise of an update. I know a lot of people out there were kind of assuming that we weren't going to be getting anything else when it came to the Christmas holiday, but it looks like Netmarble has shattered expectations and gone ahead and given us a lot more than we expected. So I'm happy in general about the buffs. I think these buffs are huge. I think these characters are going to be really, really appreciative of these buffs, and I think that a lot of players out there are also going to be appreciative that they are re-releasing them. However, I do see some people out there being upset about the fact that they went ahead and combined the banners and put them all on one from the looks of it. That could be something for people out there that already have a few of these that could upset them, or if you're somebody out there that hasn't gotten any of them, it's going to be, you know, your favorite thing in the world. It's really going to come down to where you're at. But anyway, you guys, let me know in the comment section down below what you think of all this stuff. I think that this is super hype, but you guys can let me know your opinions. Like I said, there's a few little downsides. Like I said, we don't get a generic memory on the carnival from the looks of it, and again, you know, when it comes to combining these banners, a bit of a double-edged sword, but you know, in general, I do think that this is pretty positive stuff nonetheless. But you guys let me know your opinions in the comments section. We'll break it all down when it's live in game tomorrow, but until then, you guys know what to do. Smash that like button and subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.
Continue.